Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a very exciting video for me and probably a long one for you. So buckle up. We're going to be getting into a full reveal of my very first ever created tarot deck, the Unicorn's Journey Tarot, and my book being published by Llewellyn, Unlocking the Tarot. So this is just a full reveal of all the things, mostly Unicorn's Journey Tarot, but we are going to be talking about my book. Like, look, I have a pile of stuff to show you, and I am beside myself so excited. So I'm going to be telling you a little bit about the journey. I'm going to be taking you and we're going to unbox official copies, final versions of Unicorn's Journey Tarot, look at all the things. It's going to be a whole thing. So grab a beverage, grab a snack, settle in. I will try to be chill, but I make zero promises. I'm probably not going to be chill. That's basically the punchline. So here we are. We're going to get started. During today's video, we're going to be talking mostly about Unicorn's Journey Tarot, but I have to have a moment to talk about Unlocking the Tarot. I did a short video, what do you call it? A reel on Insta? I don't know what you call it. A short video for Instagram and for YouTube showing me unboxing my author copies of Unlocking the Tarot, but I don't even know where to begin with this. This is literal dream come true territory for me. I dreamed when I was like 19, 20 years old that I wanted to one day write a book for Llewellyn Books. It was just like a little tiny teenage baby witch dream of mine, basically. That's the punchline. And here we are. And I'm 47 years old, and here the dream is being realized, and I couldn't be more proud and more excited and absolutely speechless that this is what I'm telling you about today. Like, and I get it. I've talked about this book before. I talked about the galley copy, but it's just something about getting these official copies in and knowing that at the time I'm filming this, we are days away from official release is just unbelievably momentous and exciting for me, and I am so full up with gratitude. First of all, this is beautiful. It's got a soft touch cover. They had the cover illustrated by Brittany Keller, who has a tarot deck of her own, by the way, called Lovely Ladies Tarot. I've talked about it on the channel. The ineffable Barbara Moore wrote the foreword. Hello? The way that I cried, y'all, when I asked Barbara Moore if she would write the foreword, and she said yes, I cried like a little baby because Barbara Moore is the first tarot author whose name I knew by heart. She was the one who wrote guidebooks to some of the very first tarot decks I ever worked with, and her writing impacted me. She inspires me today and always. And asking her was like taking the biggest fool's leap ever. And listen, Barbara Moore was also my acquisitions editor for this book, and I worked with her closely on the project. But at the time that I, like this was just me, a fan of Barbara Moore's work, saying, hey, would you be interested? Would you be willing? Because you're the one I have to ask first. You know, you're the one. And when she said yes, like I said, it was just a whole moment I had. And I remember I was at my Muggle job and my boss came in that day and I was just crying. And he's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, no, it's good. It's good. And I tried to explain it to him, and he's a dude. So I was like trying to explain, and he does his best. Listen, the guy's not a tarot guy, okay? But he does his best. And I'm trying to explain it. So I'm trying to give like an analogy that will make sense to him. I'm like, imagine you're really into hockey, and like your favorite hockey player, and you're going to write a book about hockey, and your favorite hockey player is going to write the foreword. Like, that's this moment for me. And I was trying to explain it to him, and it was funny. He was like, yeah, okay. He kind of got it, but I don't know if he ever did fully get it. He's a sweetheart though, so we love him for trying. But in any case, it was a big moment, and I'm so humbled and grateful to Barbara for the incredibly kind things that she said about me in the foreword and about this book and about the work that I do. And it means a lot. So that was a very, very special moment. And this is something I will never forget, is the experience of holding this in my hands. And for those of you who have been with me on this journey for a while, you know that I self-published my last book, The Self-Worth Path. I never shopped it out to publishers. That was something I just needed to put out into the world. I needed to put it out exactly my way because I didn't know what the publishing world was like. And I have to give Llewellyn Books an awful lot of credit here. I didn't know what to expect. And I have to say it was an incredible experience working with Llewellyn. They really lifted me up and supported me in my work and stood behind my work in a way that felt really good. And like I said, I didn't know what to expect, but it was a beautiful experience, and I'm very, very grateful to have had it. And yeah, so incredible. So it has a back now, which is something I said on my short video, but this matters because in the galley copy, there's just promotional material on the back. There's not like the actual back of the book. and there's a spine. And this is just such a surreal moment for me, but literally this part right here. Like I was just imagining looking at bookshelves and seeing a book that I wrote with my name on the spine and this little Llewellyn moon, and look at the little lock at the top, like the detail. I'm so proud of this. In any case, let me tell you a little bit about it in case you don't know. I want to tell you in my own words why this matters to me, why this is important to me. For starters, this book is inspired by and really sort of founded in the roots, or sort of, I don't know how to say this, it's based on the roots of, I can't words. You would think, you would not realize I wrote a book, but I can't words right now because I'm too excited. But this is founded on the principles of Tarot with Training Wheels, which is a video series that I did here on YouTube. And it was meant to be a complete, easy starting point for people to jump into tarot, to get just a basic introduction to a single keyword method of learning the cards. But in Tarot with Training Wheels, I'm not taking you through the entire process to create your own system of words. I'm suggesting that you should change them and you should pick words that work for you. But it's meant to be a quick, easy primer to working with keywords. Then I have my tarot course, which is called Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners, which takes that idea of Tarot with Training Wheels and goes much, much, much deeper and teaches you many ways to attribute many words to many parts of the tarot. And then it goes much deeper than that as well. And so this book sort of ends up sort of existing in this space, partly between Tarot with Training Wheels and my course, Tarot Bootcamp for Beginners. But this also kind of goes off and creates its own path. And as if you've ever written anything, a short story, even an essay or a book or I don't know, anything, you may be familiar with the experience that when you start writing something at a certain point, you start out with an idea of what it's going to be. And then it takes you on a journey. Like if you allow it to, if you allow a creative, and this is probably true of any creative project, but I don't paint or anything. So like, I'm just giving you what I know. When you take on a creative process, you begin with an idea of what it's going to do. And then at a certain point, it literally becomes its own thing and it leads you. You're no longer leading it. And I want you to know that the force, the entity that I feel like really led me throughout this process and throughout this project was my desire to be of service, my desire to be helpful, to give a tool that can help people who are brand new to the tarot, and a tool that can like open new pathways for people who have been looking at the tarot for years and years and years. And the challenge of that is to personalize the tarot, to make the tarot something that becomes a part of you because you have formed an intimate relationship with it through the process of creating your own keywords. That is the sort of premise of this book. And so that process is I guide you the entire way through, but I also encourage and gently nudge a lot of freedom for you to create that path for yourself, because I will tell you right now, that process will open new pathways for you. There is no way that it cannot, in my opinion, my very, very humble, not humble opinion, I guess. But like, that is what I think. And if you want to, especially if you are a seasoned reader, if you want to hear more about my philosophy on keywords and how they can be helpful, particularly for not just beginners, not only beginners, but also for advanced readers, then I would encourage you to check out the talk that I did at the Llewellyn online conference that happened this past summer. I will link that down below for you. It is free on YouTube. You can watch the entire thing. There you'll really get a feeling for my philosophy around keywords. My talk was called something like The Power of Keywords in Tarot Reading. And you'll really get an idea of like where I'm coming from, like what the point is and why I think it's helpful, why I think it's important and impactful. And something else that might help if you're like, I don't know, man, keywords are like for beginners or whatever. Like if that's your perspective, there's nothing wrong with that. I just want to tell you that there's more there. And I also want to tell you that one thing I've learned as a teacher, I used to be a yoga teacher. I've always had a passion for teaching in some form or another. And one of the things that I feel like I've learned in that time is that the thing that happens to anybody that's been doing anything for a long time is we sort of create boundaries around ourselves and our understanding. We start to feel like we know a thing. And once we feel like we know a thing, we actually stop being able to know more about that thing. We create a border or boundary around it, and we sort of tie it down. I would encourage you to consider the concept of coming at something through a fresh perspective being a very powerful and arguably advanced technique for taking your practice deeper. And it's just one possibility. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I wrote this book, like legitimately, I literally just the other day had to go look at my contract because I can't even remember how this works. Like That's not why I did this. And arguably, I don't know. Like, I have no way to expect anything, and honestly have no concept of this being something that I'm doing as a selling thing. This feels like something I just needed to do. If that makes any sense. I realize that sounds so stupid and cheesy, and I apologize. I'm not driven by that. And in fact, the minute that becomes a thing that becomes a focus, I start to get real scared and shut down, which I'm going to talk about more in a minute. But just know that, like, my whole heart is in this, and I want it to be helpful. And I realize I'm probably overstating everything, but this feels like a really, really, really big deal to me. And it doesn't have to be a big deal to you, but I needed to let myself have this moment, because I have to tell you, this has been in the works for just about 2 years now. And in that process, it hasn't really ever fully felt like this was going to exist until now. So I'm just kind of finally letting it sink in a bit, and it's a whole experience. So anyways, I feel like I haven't told you anything. So if you want to know even more, I would encourage you to watch some of the YouTube video reviews that have come out about this book so far. You can see a wonderful one by Logan over at Larkin Legend. I'll try to remember to link that. Danny of Danny Mystic did a review. I believe there's one also coming from Dawn Michelle at some point in the future as well. I know she talked about it a little bit in her member space, but I believe there is a public video coming at some point in the future on that as well. And you can read an incredible review on Substack by Krista Chronicles. I'll try to link the ones I know about down below, and just read other people's thoughts on it and how they sort of interpreted it, because of course those people are familiar with tarot and are going to be coming at their review from that lens. We're probably not going to see a ton of beginner level reviews of this deck until it's actually out in the public and in people's hands. So if you're curious about that, I would encourage you to check reviews, see what people have said, make up your own mind if this is for you or not. But I'm very, very proud of it, and I'm very, very excited. So I'm going to try not to belabor, because I've talked about it before, but I'm going to put it to the side now. And we're going to talk about Unicorn's Journey Tarot. We're going to talk about my process actually in creating Unicorn's Journey Tarot, which is where these come in. So I know that my members who have been a member for a long time have seen this, because I shared this process of creating this one on a video with them. But I don't think I shared this one. I'm pretty sure I talked about this, but this was where Unicorn's Journey Tarot actually began. It was, I forget what it was. I think it was actually something in Dawn Michelle's monthly medicine that inspired me to, I don't know if we were invited to create a shaker jar, or maybe that was something that came about. I can't remember exactly, but there was a prompt, and I remember thinking about a shaker jar or a spell or something. I can't remember how it came about. And I was like, you know what? I want to manifest creating my first tarot deck. That's what I want to manifest. And I want to put my heart and soul into that. And so I had already, by the time I sat down to do this jar, the idea for Unicorn's Journey Tarot had already come to me, but I was scared, and I remained scared. I still remain scared, but I remained scared throughout the process. And I needed something to sort of like bolster a little bit. And something I haven't talked about a ton, or at least I don't think I've talked about a ton on this channel. Perhaps you've heard me talk about things like this in Self-Worth Saturday, or when I spoke about my self-worth book, The Self-Worth Path. But for me, self-worth is an ongoing practice. It's something that I have to work on. It's not something that comes naturally to me. In fact, I deal with a lot of imposter syndrome. I deal with a lot of fear. I deal with a lot of thinking I don't have anything to offer, and then having to like realize I do, and like really work myself through that process, talk myself through that. The idea of creating my own tarot deck was terrifying and truly didn't feel possible. And something that I struggle with a lot is that I feel like what comes naturally to me is to step back so that somebody else can step into the light. That has been my default my whole life. Where there's opportunities to shine, I've had a tendency, my default, again, this is not what I've done necessarily every single time. This is where I'm most comfortable, where I don't get afraid, is when I just back up, let somebody else have that. It's very uncomfortable for me to step into the light and say, I am worthy of this, or I can do this, or I deserve this. Those things are very hard for me to say and to feel and to believe. And what I want you to know, you who are watching this video, especially if you've been watching me for a long time, but even if you've just started watching now, this YouTube channel is the reason any of this has happened. It's the reason Unlocking the Tarot exists. It's the reason that Unicorn's Journey Tarot exists. Because it was through creating this channel and carving out a space where I committed to being in the light and showing up and being myself as myself. I didn't come here to perform. I didn't come here to impress anybody. I didn't come here to accomplish anything. I came here because I wanted to be a part of this community, and I wanted to share, and I wanted to be a part of the conversation. And mostly what I really wanted to do was lift up other people and like show and talk about tarot decks, tarot art, tarot creators, the things I was passionate about and excited about. I wanted to lift people up. And what you all taught me, I'm going to get emotional and I'm going to try not to, but what you all taught me was that I was enough, that I could show up in this space and be accepted for who I am. The things that I was the most scared to show here or anywhere in public, you know, the inner child side of myself is something that I've kind of been socialized to smush down, because you kind of get treated like you're not a grown-up. Like you get treated like you don't have it together if you show too much joy or enthusiasm or excitement for stuff. I'll never forget the day that I came on camera and showed some of my toys, or like the day that I came on my very first live stream, which was, I swear you all, it was like, I think I had my first live stream, my first week I was on YouTube, because I just wanted to rip the Band-Aid off and just like try things and just see what happened. This community, you all, showed me such love and acceptance. You taught me it was okay to show up as myself, that was valuable. Not just that it was okay, that it was valuable. That me coming on here and being who I am could be good. I don't know how else to explain that. And so just forgive me. This is a little self-indulgent for a minute. I'm just going to have this moment. But like, if I hadn't had that experience, if I hadn't had, like, I've been on YouTube now for 5 years, and this has always been a space where I felt like I could be myself. And there's been ups and downs. I've been through some stuff. But at the end of the day, this is like a place where I can just show up and have a space that just feels real and authentic and me. And I don't have to worry that, I don't know how to describe this, because yes, there's trolls. Yes, I sometimes get weird comments and people can be funky sometimes, but the vast majority of people in this community, the people that come to this channel, are loving and accepting and supportive and non-judgmental. And that is sacred to me. But also it has given me the courage to try things, to put myself out there, to trust that I could maybe put something out in the world, create something, and that it might be received, that it might be of service, that it might be useful. Whew, okay, so I know I've been babbling and just kind of holding the shaker jar, but I needed to have a moment to tell you all that this happened because of you. You need to know that. All of it. And I will never forget that. Because without this space, I wouldn't have done any of it. I wouldn't have done any of it. I wouldn't have done any of it. That's, I guess, just the truth of it. And so I'm so grateful. And I've talked about this in my membership as well, but when I opened the membership and then got support through the membership, and I was able to realize dreams. It was the membership that allowed me to hire an artist to take the chance on Unicorn's journey, because of course there's so many expenses that come far before we get to the Kickstarter. And the Unicorn Fam channel membership is what allowed me to do that. And so I don't say this lightly. This is not something I could have done prior to YouTube. And so I have so much gratitude for all of you. And when I say thank you at the end of my videos, I need you to know it comes from my heart. That's not just something I say because it's like routine or whatever. Like, I say it because I mean it, and I want you to know that I will never forget it. That's it. So thank you. And now, let me tell you a little bit about my little magical things here. So, and try not to be such a sap. So, this came about because I had the idea for Unicorn's Journey and I wanted to manifest it. And at the time, my idea was to take it to a mass market publisher, because there's no way in hell I thought I could self-publish a tarot deck. That seemed very complicated and terrifying. So many moving parts, scary, plus little old me. No. So I thought I would maybe present an idea to a publisher, which, just so you all know, is something that I did. And it turned out to be bad timing, bad fit, whatever. It actually turned out to be a real gift, because it opened up doors in different directions, and it took me to new places, and it actually freed me in a lot of ways to do this project in the timing that I wanted. Y'all, mass market publishing takes so long. Most of the decks we see come to market have been in the works for 4 or 5 years. Most. For mass market. That's something you need to know. Which is why we're so slow to see changes to things when we comment about stuff like, whatever the market trends are. That's something to keep in mind. Anyways, but back to the point. So I did approach a mass market, but at the time I created this shaker, that was what I thought I was going to do, was like create the idea, pitch it, see what happened. And so at the time I created this little shaker jar, my goal was to manifest basically a publishing deal for a mass market tarot deck. So that was originally my thinking. And I don't know that I've talked about that a lot, but I'm going to show you actually the pages in my grimoire where I created this and just tell you a little bit about it. So this is the page. And I even took a little picture. This is the exact thing. I even took a little picture. So in this little shaker jar, we have, make sure my sound is still working, Sunstone for luck, fortune, and originality. Carnelian for creativity, jade for luck, sodalite for thought, communication, ideas, and intuition, aventurine for creativity and imagination, clear quartz for me to program, which I used to program a specific intention specific to this deck into, tiger's eye, both regular and red. The red was for integrity and clear thinking, and the regular tiger's eye was for courage and empowerment. I also put in some herbs. I put in cinnamon for fire and inspiration and creativity. I put in dandelion for wishes fulfilled. My personal growth blend, which is later on in this grimoire, it's a self-worth themed blend that I've done for my own personal work around self-worth and shadow work and cycle breaking, which I wrote here. And then spearmint for strengthening the mind. And then plus my shadow work blend is in here. And so what I did, and I also had a little petition. You can actually see it rolling around in here. I'm not going to take it out, but that was my original little goal for this project. And so I kind of wrote it, I guess, law of attraction style, where I wrote it as if it had already happened. Like, oh, I've got a publishing deal, something like that. Like, that's kind of the premise. And I carried this around with me everywhere while I was working on the initial artwork descriptions and write-ups for Unicorn's Journey Tarot. When I was really mapping it out, mapping out the story and getting to know Mystic and the characters, I would keep this with me and I would just shake it constantly. Like whenever I got scared, like, oh, I can't do this, I would shake this little jar. And so it became a living, breathing part, I guess, of this project in its way. And so I've kept it close. It's a part of the story, and I don't know when it will feel finished, this little spell, because it's truly it's come full circle now. The whole thing has come to fruition, but this was such a sweet part of the story. So I just wanted to share that with you. And also I created this. Now I created this on a video actually with my members. So if you are a magical unicorn, or if you're in the membership, you could actually go into the archives and find me doing this actually on camera. So I'm not going to try to go into too crazy much detail, but I will show you the grimoire page for that as well. Let's just put this up here. So this one was meant to be more of a protection. Let's see if I can put this kind of over here. I've got some other stuff I still need to put in my grimoire here, but this is the page. You can tell, again, I took a picture and then I put it on sticker paper and put it right in my grimoire so you can see the actual picture of what I created. So this is a witch ball to protect the Unicorn Journey Tarot. So here I have amethyst for intuition in this one. I have lepidolite for inner child unicorn vibes, tiger's eye for courage, strength, and the sacral chakra, carnelian for passion, sunstone for drive and the solar plexus, focus and determination, rose quartz for the heart. And the herbs I pulled in for creativity and mental power are rosemary and spearmint. Heart, I pulled in motherwort, success, spearmint, magic, mugwort, red topaz? Red tape. Red tape, right. Calendula to help break through any red tape. Self-worth and follow-through was my shadow work blend. And then I also had here some tarot cards. So I did a whole ritual where I surrounded this with tarot cards. I chose the Magician for manifestation, the High Priestess for divination, the Strength card for self-worth, and the Nine of Cups for success and fulfillment in this case, because I was not seeking Nine of Pentacles success. And I think this is an important delineator. I was seeking and hoping for that sense of fulfillment, of having really represented my purpose with this project, which is always about empowering others and helping others to find their self-worth and to tap into their own inner light. That is always my goal in my work. And so that was my driving force in this project. So all of those things went into this witch ball, which is actually a plastic ornament from like Michael's or whatever. And then I used a purple spell candle. I melted the wax all over the top of this to seal it in. And this became a shaker jar. There is also a petition in here as well. So that is in there with my thoughts and feels and manifestation desires, etc. If I recall correctly. So there's instructions here on what to do and like how I did this spell, but this was a really important part of this project. This has hung nearby throughout the entire process and has provided a lot of peace of mind. I can't tell you how many times I have struggled through this project or I have cried and ranted and stressed and panicked and worried and all of that. And every time I was feeling those things, those tricky things, I would come in and I would shake this and I would just like take me through this process, you know, just like keep me anchored into my hopes for this project. So I just wanted to share a little bit of that because I feel like that's a side of project creation we don't always get to see. So I just thought that would be fun to share. And now that I've been babbling for an entire half an hour, and if you've skipped ahead, that's totally fine. Let's actually dig into the final copies of everything I created for Unicorn's Journey Tarot. Quick little caveat, if you're seeing me do this, I don't know when this video is going up. I'm filming it a couple of days after getting all of this stuff. Now, keep in mind, I am not shipping decks myself because I'm in Canada and it would have been horrifically expensive to most areas. So instead, my decks are all going into a fulfillment center in the US, and those are still en route. I'm expecting them to get there in the next couple of weeks at the time I'm filming, 2 to 3 weeks, hopefully, and crossing my fingers for sooner. But that's what's going on there. So just because I'm showing this doesn't mean that they are shipping to Kickstarter backers yet. We still have probably a few more weeks, but these were shipped air, just a small little batch of them, very, very small batch for me to keep here in my home and for me to play with and show you all. And so that's what this is. So that's the little caveat. But we have the mini, we have the standard, which we'll get into here in a moment, and then we have the extra little thingies that ended up getting created. These were both stretch goals that I got to create. This was a stretch goal add-on, and these stickers were a freebie stretch goal that went in for all Kickstarter backers. So let's get into the stickers first, because it's just fun, right? So I created 2 sticker sheets, and the sticker set is 2 of each sheet. So, and just because I'm going to be like kind of jumping in mid-story, if you really want the full background on this project, I have a whole playlist of videos that I made during the creation where I go into like literally every single card. I talk about the story, I deep dive and deep dive and deep dive again. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, check the playlist. The last one, which was the Road So Far update where got the Earth suit in it. That is the last major update, I would say, that has the deep dive in it. So if that's what you're looking for, that's where you want to go. Anyway, stickers. So the first sheet are mostly Mystic focused. So we have Mystic with the ladybug and the butterfly in a couple different poses here. We have Mystic with their found family, the bear, the foxes, the bunnies. We have Mystic as a unicorn hugging Carolyn. This is sort of a reuniting that doesn't actually happen in the deck itself. This is exclusive to the stickers. This image, it was actually, Francesca drew all of these, I believe, for the stickers for us. They weren't just pulled out of the deck, if that makes sense. So this is actually, in the story, Mystic and Carolyn sort of have to part ways in the death card. And Mystic doesn't yet know that they're a unicorn. So this shows them being reunited now that Mystic knows they're a unicorn. They have their horn visible. It's a whole thing. So it's a really sweet moment that I wanted a sticker for because I'm a sap and I needed to see that. Also, we have Mystic and the Light Guardian, or the Light Guide, who you'll meet in the deck, and Mystic and the Shadow Guide. So we have the little wolf that becomes part of Mystic's little family in here. The wolf is in here as well. And we have the sort of big Clydesdale-ish unicorn that represents Mystic's Light Guide. You'll meet this unicorn in the Judgment card. And that is the only place other than the bonus card where you'll meet him. So in any case, a quick note as I just continue to chat, I might end up swapping pronouns about Mystic. Mystic is a she to me because I'm a she, but I've always spoken about Mystic publicly in a very they/them way so that you don't form ideas ahead of time about Mystic's gender and can make up your own mind. So Mystic for you can be he, her, they, them, doesn't matter, whatever feels right to you. So the second sticker sheet is based on the minor arcana. So we have the 4 elemental creatures. So we have the dragons for the fire suit, the air sylphs for the air suit, the water nymphs for the water suit, and the gnomes for the earth suit. And then we have the court card groupings for each of the 4 suits. We have the 4 court card fire unicorns, the 4 court card earth unicorns, air unicorns, and water unicorns in their land form. They also have a water form. And then there's a sword, wand, cup, and pentacle sticker. These are the exact same hand-drawn symbols that you will see on the actual cards. That was actually a Peggy suggestion to put the traditional suit symbols on the card somewhere. So because I renamed the suits to fire, water, air, and earth, that way you know that those are also wands, cups, swords, and pentacles, because you'll find the little hand-drawn symbols on the card. So you never lose your way. You always know what suit you're in. So anyways, there's these stickers. These are really nice. They're not super crazy thin. You can hopefully see. They're not vinyl, but they are a heavier paper, and they do have a lamination on them. So they should be semi-sturdy. I wouldn't say that they're like sturdy like vinyl, but I'm going to put these on stuff. Like, I'm not going to just put it in a journal, if that makes sense. They feel like they'd be fine to go in a journal. I don't think they're too thick for a journal, but I just want you to know I tried to make nice quality stickers. So that is what we have in the sticker set. And I will have some extra sets, but I don't yet know what's happening with those, how I'm going to handle that. We shall wait and see. But these were included for free with every backer, every Kickstarter backer. They were also available to add as an add-on if you were pre-ordering the deck as a late backer. So, but they were free only for Kickstarter backers initially. So that's the sticker set. This I'm super proud of. I got to create this because we reached the stretch goal and I was so excited. This is a children's book called Mystic's Magical Journey. And there's no mention of the tarot. It is just a children's story, as far as, like, if you were to read this to kids, it's not going to be like, hey, and the death card. It's not going to be like that. There's no mention of the tarot in here. There's no mention of the tarot titles. This is literally Mystic's story of learning who they are and learning how to let their own power and inner light shine. So it is written for children, with children in mind, I guess I should say. It's got a thick, glossy cover because little hands, we might need to wipe it down, right? But obviously it is for the young at heart as well. So the way that this is written, and I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but I will say, so by the way, I haven't said so far, I'm sorry. My artist for all of this, the illustrator, is Francesca Paocchi. She's a talented artist, and we are working together on more projects. We've currently got three others technically in the works, one of which is further off, two of which are kind of further off, but we are working on the Unicorn's Journey Oracle, which I'm hoping to bring out sometime next year. That's well underway. So I had to have a matchy because it's me. But anyways, Francesca is the illustrator for Unicorn's Journey, all the things. But anyways, so this is literally a story told like once upon a time and so forth. And it starts with the Fool and goes all the way through the major arcana. So if you're looking for a story of the Fool's journey, this is that. It is told in basically rhyming couplets, so little rhymes. For example, in a world like yours and mine, there was a pony gleaming white with cloven hooves and a lion's tail. That is a pony, right? No, Mystic wasn't a pony, but a unicorn in truth. They had no horn and unaware were innocent in youth. And that's how the whole story goes, okay? So I'm not going to read the whole thing right now, but if you would like a read-along, let me know. I'll do that as a dedicated, like, single video without any other things in the video at all. Just do a little read-along. No intro, no outro. For anybody who wants that, let me know. I can actually speak slower. But in any case, the book goes through, and some of the art will be like formatted like this, where you have text on one side, art on the other, and sometimes you'll see words on the pages as well. I looked at a lot of children's books and kind of just tried to format it in a way that made sense, but it does go in order through the majors. But again, you'll see just the artwork. You will not see any titles. The goal of this was to just share Mystic's story through the majors. And Mystic's story does continue through the minor arcana, but that would have been a much, much, much longer book. So this is about 40 some odd pages, and there is a very strong self-worth message here that I think is very age appropriate and empowering for children, but again, also for adults, you know, the young at heart. So that came out. I'm so excited. Let's get into the decks. I know we're like 35 minutes in and you're like, I'm like finally getting into the cards. I'm sorry. This is just how I roll. It's just how I roll. So we have the standard and we have the mini. Oh my gosh. Get out of the bubble wrap. Look at how beautiful. Oh my gosh. So you remember how I said that in my shaker ball, my shaker witch ball sphere, I had surrounded it by the 9 of Cups. Well, the cover art is the 9 of Cups, the 9 of Water. 9, not night. I'm slurring because I'm just like excited. Okay, let's get into these bad boys. I am going to show you the outside of the box and how the box is constructed. I'm going to show you the cards and all the details about the cards. I'm going to show you the guidebook. I am not going to show you the inside of the box because I have somehow managed, despite the fact that I am terrible at keeping secrets because I love to show and tell all the things, I have managed to keep the inside of the box a surprise. It's not that it's necessarily something super exciting on the inside of the box, but it's just the only detail I've never shared the full scope of anywhere. And so I'm trying to keep that a little surprise for the people who get this deck in hand and can open it and enjoy it. But that being said, anybody else can share the inside if you want. If you get it, you can share it. Don't feel weird about it. I just personally wanted to leave a little bit of intrigue, a little surprise for you all, just for funsies. But yeah, I hope I'm not talking it up. It's nothing that exciting. I just kept one little thing a secret. Anyways, so we have the mini, we have the standard, and look at how cute they are. Oh my gosh. So we have spot gloss details on both. These are the exact same type of box, one's just smaller. Spot gloss details on all the letters. We have the name of the deck on the spine. And we have a lot less text on the back of the mini. The full size does have my ISBN information on the back and a little write-up, but they both say discover the magic within. And then they both open magnetically right here. So let me show you the box construction. So when you first open it, well, you won't open it the way that I'm going to open it because I'm trying to keep the inside a secret. But when I open it all the way flat, so this was important to me that it opens all the way flat because some of these magnetic boxes, they open like that. And I wanted it to open all the way because I find that the most satisfying way to have these book style boxes. There is a ribbon lift out, and the lift out, I'll show you the color of the ribbon if I can here carefully in a moment. And then inside you will have, of the standard, you will have the guidebook. And then if you keep lifting, you will also get the cards. Oh my God, look at the backs with that rainbow holographic. This was also a stretch goal, as was the matte colored edges that match the backs of the cards. They match this like lighter lilac color. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. And there is a certificate of authenticity. So this copy is copy number 523 of 2000, and that is what the certificate looks like. I had the numbers put on in purple metallic foil to match my signature kind of, and I just think the result was really cool. So that is what the certificate of authenticity looks like. You get a certificate of authenticity in the standard deck, and you do also get a certificate of authenticity in the mini deck. How, oh, can we focus? Hello? Yes, there we go. So this one is copy number 918 of 1000 here in the mini. So there we go. All right. Now I'll show you the color of the ribbon because it snuck out of the box a little bit. So that is the color of the ribbon. It is a light baby pink. You can see it a little bit better right there. Pretty, right? So both the mini box and the standard box both have the exact same ribbon lift out. They both have the same interior design. Everything is basically the same. The biggest difference between the standard and the mini, other than the obvious size difference, is that the standard comes with a physical guidebook. The mini does not. Both come with a digital guidebook. That's how it went. So I'm going to talk about the sizes and all that kind of stuff, but let's actually do the size real quick. So here we have the standard and the mini stacked up. So you can see this is a true mini. This is not a travel, this is a mini. This is closest in size to like a Llewellyn mini deck, a little bit taller. So let me show you, for example, my Llewellyn mini that I have handy here is the Everyday Witch. And so I will show you, that is the Everyday Witch. And the Unicorn's Journey is just a little bit taller behind it. So that gives you an idea of the sizing of the mini. Only other detail I want to point out here before we do a quick flip through of the cards is that, and some shuffle testing, is that the standard edition is in 330 GSM black core cardstock. It's got a linen finish and casino grade quality coating on it. So it's really, really luxe. This is luxe in the way that a really high quality playing card deck is luxe. It is playing cardstock. It is meant to be shuffled, used, read with, worked with. It will hold up and it will have bend and flex. It is not thick cardstock. It is not stiff cardstock. It's lovely. It is the highest quality cardstock I could source. So, because I'm a cardstock nerd and this is what I do. The mini deck, because it is smaller and smaller decks have a tendency to be a little trickier to shuffle. This is on 310 GSM cardstock, black core, linen, same finish. Everything else is exactly identical. Same colored edges, same holographic backings. They are identical basically in almost all ways. Minis are traditionally a little bit stiffer because they're smaller, so they have a little less room to bend. So whereas you have in a standard deck, you've got a lot of leeway to create a bend in the cards. In a mini, because they're just physically smaller, you can't get them bent as well with your hands. It's just physics, I guess, or something. I don't know. So I went with a slightly lighter weight cardstock, but let me tell you, they feel almost indiscernible. I can't tell the difference. They feel the same. So, and I went over this with my members, but they feel enough the same that, not this, but just 310 and 330 GSM do feel a lot the same, to the point where I had to do all kinds of funky tests to confirm the GSM. It was a whole thing. Anyways, okay. But I did confirm we're all good. Quick look at the guidebook, and then we'll get into some shuffle tests. The guidebook is full color. This is the artwork from the 10 of Pentacles, or the 10 of Earth, which is one of my favorites. In fact, a fun little like story. So the Fool artwork, which you see here in the children's book, right? That's the Fool, is actually something I had turned into a custom decal on the back of for the back of my iPad fairly early on in this process. As soon as I had a high quality version of this artwork, I like ordered this decal for myself. There's our little ladybug. I love her so much. This was the first piece of artwork Francesca made for the deck. Anyway, so I made this, but when I had this made and ordered it in, I also ordered another one so that I could change it out when the project was finished. So I'll be doing that soon, although I am rather attached to this one. I think I am going to change it out. And let me show you what I'll be changing it out to. This is relevant, I swear. It is the 10 of Pentacles, or the 10 of Earth artwork. Isn't that beautiful? Because this is the end, right? Literally in Mystic's story, the Fool card is the once upon a time. And the 10 of Pentacles is the happily ever after. And so that is how the story is written. And if you don't know this about this deck, again, I don't know if I should say again. Have I said this already? I have very deep dive content available on the channel. I think I've said that. But if you ever wanted to read Mystic's story as a story from beginning to end in this deck, because this is a story-based deck that you can ignore the story if you want to, but you can lean into that. You will find that if you read this little italicized paragraph on the left-hand side, right underneath the card title, for every card in order, you will get Mystic's full story of what happens. Now, you don't have to do that in order like cover to cover, but perhaps it might be useful to read the major arcana, then the fire, then the fire, then the water, then the air, then the earth, because they do tell a continuing story, and there are threads of things that happen throughout the deck that happen in that order. You don't need to know those things, but I think it adds an extra layer that's really special to this deck, and it's something I'm really proud of. I will also point out that the digital guidebook is an exact copy of this. Every single thing that is in here is in the digital. There's no difference between the two books. One is just a PDF and one is here in physical form. So the PDF is for everybody that gets the deck, and then the standard deck also comes with this lovely guidebook. This is 200 some odd, 220, 200, no, 200 and it's numbered to 193, but y'all, that's a lie because all the intro pages don't actually count towards the number. Anyway, it's 204 pages, this guidebook. There are some spreads in here that are unique to this deck that I hope you'll really enjoy and use, including my version of the Celtic Cross, which I also go over in very great detail in Unlocking the Tarot with the sample reading and the whole work. So I'm a big fan of the Celtic Cross. You'll find it in both of these resources, but in much more detail in Unlocking the Tarot, and you'll get a little primer, a little baby intro to it in here. What else can I tell you about this? Oh yeah, I designed this myself. Like I got help with like porting it into a program, but I designed these colored banners myself, and Dawn Michelle helped me because she's like a wizard with this kind of stuff. But like I figured out the banners, I learned the program, I learned how to do this stuff, and I'm real proud. And then Dawn made sure that it didn't look like trash after I was done doing the basic layout. But I she really helped me through this. But honestly, I'm tooting my horn only because I'm so proud of myself for having learned whole new programs. Like I laid out these cards, I created the banners down at the bottom, I learned programs so that I could put them in and adjust colors and do all of that stuff. So I did all of that myself. This is very grassroots, this project. Francesca created the art, but I did everything else. And so I'm very proud. There's a lot of moving parts. Creating a deck is not at all any small feat. And I just have so much respect for anybody that does it. It was a lot. It was a lot, but I'm so glad and so proud. So I have this unshuffled version that I just opened for you, and then I have a working copy for myself in both sizes that is shuffled. So I'm going to keep this version in order, and I'm going to show you a quick flip through of the cards, side by side, the mini and the standard, and then I will do some shuffle testing with my pre-shuffled copies. So I'm going to zoom us in. We're going to do a quick flip through here. I know, right at the very end. I'm the worst. I'm sorry. I just had so much to say, and I needed to have this moment now that these are done. But let's do a quick little flip through. I'm not going to go into detail for this. For that, you will want to look at my other videos or watch somebody else's detailed walkthrough. But here we have the Fool, Magician, High Priestess, Empress, Emperor, Hierophant, Choice for lovers, Chariot, Strength, Hermit, Wheel of Fortune, Justice, Hanged One, Death, Temperance, Devil, Tower. Let's bring these in a little closer. Star, Moon, Sun. I can't help myself. That's the Knight of Water, who Mystic meets later in the water suit. Judgment. There's our light guide, the World. These are our bonus cards. So we have light and we have shadow. And when you put these two together, they form a yin-yang symbol in the pawns here that you see. Okay, then we're into the wands or fire suit. So here you can see the little hand-drawn wand symbol. So you always know where you are in the tarot. But we have the Ace of Fire, the 2. There's our little page of fire. The 3, the 4, the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, page, knight, queen, and king. So something that I will point out in case you don't watch any of my other content is that the court cards feature throughout each suit. They show up as characters in the cards. So they're not just in their own cards. They also show up throughout. And in their own cards, they actually show different perspectives. So either a different view of something that happened earlier in the suit, or a moment just before or just after something else that happened earlier in the suit. And you will see that called out in the guidebook, so you always know what's being shown. But it brings the court cards to life, which was something I really focused on for this deck. I wanted to make the court cards come to life. So here, Mystic is actually reunited with the little Knight of Water that they first met in the Sun card. Here they are again in the 2 and the 3. We have the 4. That's the King of Water, for example. And in the 5, we have the Queen of Water comforting Mystic. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, page, knight, queen, and king. Then we have the Ace of Air, the 2 of Air. Piles are getting away from me. The 3 of Air, the 4 of Air, the 5 of Air. Now there's always, by the way, 5, 6, 7 of something in the cards. And that is also called out in the guidebook because it's not always traditional, right? We don't always have like 6 swords or 6 cups. Instead, for example, in the 6 of Air, we have 6 figures on the ground having the argument or doing the battle, whatever. There's kind of, they're coming up out of it. We also have 6 creatures being ferried away by these 2 air unicorns. There's 7 acorns here in the 7 of Air, etc. So that's all pointed out in the guidebook. Here's one of the places where it shows up very traditionally. This card is a callback to the unicorn tapestries, and specifically the piece called Unicorn Rests in a Garden, with some artistic license, of course. The 9 of Air, the 10 of Air, the Page of Air, the Knight of Air, the Queen of Air, the King of Air, and then we are into the Earth suit. So we have the Ace of Earth, the 2 of Earth, the 3 of Earth, 4 of Earth, the 5 of Earth, the 6 of Earth, 7, 8, I just love the chunky little Earth unicorns, 9, 10, and then we have our Page of Earth, Knight of Earth, Queen of Earth, and King of Earth. All right, so I've put those copies away. I'm pulling out my own personal working copies so we can do a little shuffle test. So there's our standard. I want to just let you see and hear the shuffle and show you how these decks feel in the hand because they are incredible to feel. So I just want to show you and play it for you. So first the standard. For comparison, real quick, I just want to show you a thickness difference so you understand that playing cardstock just has a completely different feel in the hand. If you've never felt it, if you don't have any other decks that are not just linen finish but true playing cardstock, just the thickness difference, all of it is so different. So I'm going to pull up my beloved Scarab and Dahlia. I love this deck, by the way, highly recommend. It's a beautiful collage deck, but it is printed on, I believe, 400 GSM cardstock. So I want you to see the difference. So this is often what we experience with indie decks is like they're printed on thicker, heavier cardstock. This does shuffle. I'll just show you so you can see. It's a bit to wrap your hands around because it's also really big, but it's kind of hard to get a bit of a bend. You can see I can get it, but it takes a little bit of work and some muscle. So thickness-wise, that is the Scarab and Dahlia. and that's UJT. So you can really see, let me just hold it this way so you can kind of, it's again, we're not talking fair comparison, but that is the difference. So I want you to know when UJT comes in, it's going to feel, I keep calling it UJT because I'm so used to doing that when I'm abbreviating, talking to my friends and stuff, but Unicorn's Journey Tarot is going to feel thin. But it is thin in the way that playing cards are thin. So it's very, very durable and sturdy. It's just thinner and more comfortable to shuffle and is meant to be shuffled. It is meant to be used. It's meant to last. And again, not saying this isn't. This is beautiful. And this cardstock hand over hands beautifully. And I wouldn't have this deck. I mean, I'd take any deck in a playing card finish if I could. But it's not always feasible. It's very expensive to do. It's not always easy to source playing card stock either, and it limits where you can get your decks printed. So, I mean, there's very, very practical reasons. I believe also that this deck will be, I don't know, what was I going to say? Anyways, this is not a diss. I love regular indie cardstock as well, but this is a beast to shuffle, and I adore this deck. I think it's worth every single penny for the Scarab and Dahlia, so please don't misunderstand my words. I love this, but I personally have a affinity for, an affection for, and a fondness for playing cardstock cards, because I feel like they just, oh my gosh, the shuffle. So they don't hurt to shuffle. They're very, very comfy to shuffle. And I like to almost meditate while I'm shuffling. So it's a whole part of the process for me. So let me show you the shuffle. I'm going to try to do it like a normal person. I usually shuffle sideways, but I'm going to try to do it normally. Oh, it's glorious. So I'm going to do it with the microphone real close. Hold on. I'm going to be weird for a second. So hopefully you were able to hear that. If that annoys you, I'm so sorry. I'm going to do it again though. So if you really were annoyed, you might want to mute your microphone. And then I'm going to do a shuffle sideways so you can really see how the bridge works. I mean, like, the mix is just, it's glorious. It is glorious. And of course it fans beautifully and perfectly because it has that casino grade finish that is meant to give it good slide. Linen finish gives little air pockets, and the black core is what helps it snap back and stay sturdy. So there is so much luxuriousness to this deck. I made the highest quality deck I could physically actually make. To my knowledge, there is no higher grade cardstock than this. This is the top tier. This is top shelf cardstock because I am a cardstock snob. And if I was going to make my dream deck, it had to be on what I feel is perfect cardstock. Now, that being said, I'm not saying linen finish is for everybody. Some people don't like how slippery they can be. They can be a little slippery. Look at that. I will say my experience has been linen decks do ease up a little bit on the slipperiness over time as they get used. I very, very rarely lose control of this deck. It feels really easy to hold, shuffle, and handle, but that's just my opinion. Everybody's mileage may vary. Now, I did make the mini, as I said, in 310 GSM black core instead of 330 so that it would be easier to shuffle. Minis can sometimes be difficult, but oh my gosh. The size of this, it's just a little longer, like I said, than a Llewellyn mini. I'm doing it next to the camera again so you can hear it because I'm just a nerd, okay? But you get the same luxurious bridge with the mini. Let me show you under the camera so you can see. Minis can be a little harder, especially if, like me, you have bigger hands because like they do feel small. But check it out. Like, it shuffles like a dream. Now, I keep this copy, this little mini, with me at all times. I've been using, oh, that was me. I totally just wasn't paying attention. I use this all the time. It is so perfect for laying out a big spread. I love it, I love it, I love it. And it's just portable, which I like. One of the reasons why I didn't want to do a physical guidebook is because my whole point of a mini is to keep it portable. I wanted it to have a box, so it was really easy to just chuck in your bag. And I prefer boxes over tins because they feel lighter. I don't know if they are physically lighter, but they feel lighter to me. And I just like, I like tins too, but I just really like boxes. I love magnetic boxes. They're my favorite. Anyway, as you can see, you still get the whistle. You still get the lovely shuffle. Even though it's a mini, it's big enough to get your hands around, it's big enough to shuffle, and it is a flexy enough cardstock that you can actually work with it. So I really, really love that. But, you know, she's little. She's little. She's small but mighty. But hopefully you can see when you lay these out, like, it's just perfect. I love doing a big spread with this one. So there we have it. There it is. Oh my gosh. So I think I'm done. Now that we've been here for an hour, showing you just all of the things. Let me put these away. You all, thank you so much for everything and for all of this. And for those of you who are drawn to any of the things I've just shown, thank you for your support. It means the world. But I'm just happy these things get to exist and get to be out in the world. So thank you so much. Thank you for letting me have this moment and share it with all of you. And I will have hopefully an update. I'm probably going to, it's going to be a minute. I need to take a second to get Kickstarter rewards shipped once they come into my fulfillment center. And then once I've had a chance to get that done, I will try to get these listed in my Etsy shop ASAP after that. So stay tuned. I will keep you posted when these are available. These are available for sale. Unlocking the Tarot is due out October 8th. I'm not sure when this video is coming out, but if it is not yet October 8th, you probably have a couple days to wait. I do know Llewellyn has been shipping already. So if you pre-ordered from Llewellyn directly or order from Llewellyn directly, they are shipping as far as I know, at least in the States. So keep that in mind. But otherwise, other booksellers I think are waiting until October 8th. If you pre-ordered it on Kindle or ebook format, I think it just gets automatically delivered to your device on October 8th. But regardless, thank you for your support of the book, of the decks, of all the things. I appreciate you all so much, and have so much gratitude in my heart for every minute of this experience here on YouTube. And as an author and a creator, these things are magic, and you made that magic, so thank you. Until next time. May your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.